Mr. Balinger, to a large extent, what also fueled the rally for us today was Reliance Industries, up something like 5% in trades after 2 full years. Well, the company is saying it's finally struck gas. What are you making of this development and how do you see it impacting the stock?
No, I mean, this is surely a positive development, but would this start a fresh rally in Reliance? I really don't think so. I think the fresh rally will start once you have the new gas pricing for Reliance. I think that will be one big trigger, which I think should come in the next couple of months. I mean, the way I see it is that trigger should come at least before September, October, because by 2014, they have to decide on the new pricing. So that I expect it to be, I mean, closer to about $8.5, $9. And if that happens, I think that will be a major trigger for Reliance. And because of that, possibly, we could see Reliance touching levels of closer to about like 1150, 1200 in the next 12 months. But in case that does not happen, then I suppose the upside for Reliance would be capped possibly closer to 900.
So is it a time to sell out of Reliance, Amrish? Should traders and investors use the current strength to their advantage to take some chips off the table?
Not at all. I think, I mean, if like for traders, possibly closer to about 870, 880 could be a level to possibly exit to a certain extent. But for investors, I think they should buy on every dip. Because like I said, clearly we expect that, I mean, gas pricing to be announced sooner than later. And I've already discussed about the levels which I'm talking of as far as the gas pricing is concerned. In case that happens, I think you could see levels closer to 1200.
Mr. Jairam, what would provide, you think, the next leg up for the market? You know, do you think it could possibly take an RBI rate cut to actually provide that much needed push that Indian equities need?
Well, to me, over the next few months, there are really only two broad triggers emanating from the domestic economy. One is clearly interest rates, and I think currently there is a belief that over the next fiscal till March 14, you will see interest rate cuts of anywhere between 50 and 75 basis points. So I think whenever that happens, that could certainly be a trigger. And the second is obviously elections. I mean, if you have early elections, which some people are speculating on, that could again become a trigger.
Jairam, even though global volatility has made a comeback, globally, if I look at US equities or especially developed market equities, they are holding on. Last week, we saw massive selling stampede in Japanese equities, but despite that massive selling stampede, US markets are holding on.
I probably think so. I think clearly the big cues right now have to come from the US because there is a school of thought and a strong belief that the US economy is on the revival path, and hence it now remains to be seen as to what policymakers, particularly the Fed, will do in the context of this, and that will have an impact on global markets, because really what's happened over the last few months is that US markets have done particularly well over the last year or so. And I think historically we have seen that whenever US markets does well, there is interest in equities globally as an asset class. And so to that extent, you start to see more flow coming into equities, and that helps emerging markets like India as well.
Mr. Balinger, what has been your assessment of, the corporate scorecard in terms of fourth quarter earnings this season? Of course, this week we'll see Hindalco, we'll see Tata Steel, Sun Pharma, Coal India just put out its numbers. How are you assessing the performance?
No, in fact, most of the results were meeting expectations, slightly better than expectations, except some of the IT results which were below. But then if you look at FMCG, look at some of the pharma companies which have come out with results, especially stocks like Lupin, they have been better than expectations. So overall, our view is that, these results were a positive trigger for the market.
Amrish, but do you think it is time to take some chips off the table when it comes to pharma? Because of late, US FDA problem has surfaced up for most of the big pharma companies. First it was Lupin, then it was Wockhardt, now it is Ranbaxy.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, one has to shift from the older lot to the new lot. I think earlier when you're talking of pharma stocks in your portfolio, one would have spoken about Ranbaxy, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's. But right now, I think if we are talking of, an exposure to pharma, I think it has to be clearly Sun Pharma, Lupin and Dr. Reddy's. I think Ranbaxy and Cipla are in fact out of the portfolio. So basically there's a churn, within the pharma pack.
Mr. Jairam, you know, when we started this calendar year, the popular trade on the street was buy into PSU banks, buy industrials, buy capital goods stocks. But now, 6 months down the line, would you think that most of those trades clearly failed?
Well, let me put it this way. I think so far it hasn't really played out. And I think part of the reason is that it is premised on the fact that there would be certain policy decisions which would help the economy. I don't think that has really materialized. In fact, what has really helped the economy is really, again, issues more by default than by design, because commodity prices have softened. So oil has been stable in the range of 100 to 105. Gold prices have come off. And overall commodity cycle seems to have turned. So I think that's helped in the context of inflation in India. And that's been really the broad sort of positive. And I think that's a little different from what people believed at the beginning of the year, where they thought that there could be policy decisions leading to more investment and hence benefits for certain sectors.
Mr. Balaga, I want a word in from Britannia. That stock, again, it was on a tear, up something like 17%. What do you suppose has impressed the market so much?
No, clearly, I mean, it has surprised on the margin front, and clearly this shows that there is no consumer slowdown in this sector, which is basically the food chain, the biscuits. And clearly people are moving up the food chain. So I think even going ahead, you could see Britannia, showing such stunning results. Although we are seeing slowdown in consumerism in the rest of the sectors, but when it comes to food, I think that is still continuing.
So do you think it is still time to hold on to those expensive consumer names, because the majority of the market men, Amrish, on the street are of the view that FMCG companies are good. They are great quality franchises, but they are also expensive stocks.
They are expensive, but like I said, when it comes to food, I think the consumption still continues. When it comes to other FMCG products, there is a slowdown in consumption. So I think there has to be a clear divide between a Britannia and a Hindustan Lever.
Right. Jairam, what do you think could be the big turning point for Indian equities, and when do you think Indian markets will convincingly trade above its previous high of 63.50?
Well, I think I don't see that happening in a hurry. I think unless global sort of liquidity again comes in very strong over the next few months, and I think that at this point of time is a little uncertain. I'm not convinced that markets will sort of really take off right now. So I think we might need a period of consolidation at around these levels before we start to see the next triggers emerge.
All right, gentlemen, many thanks for taking time out and speaking with us this evening. We'll leave it at that. Let's focus on that stock that was, of course, really on a tear today. Reliance